Everyone, I'm Ed from Swish Society, and we have here today Mr. Ing Lau, head coach of the Inner West Bulls team in the NBL League, NBL One League, sorry, which is the secondary league to the NBL, which is our main professional league in Australia, basketball league, and he's a major stepping stone for players wanting to make their way as pros. Isn't that right, Ing?
Yeah, thank you for the nice introduction, Ed.
All good, all good. I've I'm talking, going back and forth with you for a while, but it's good to actually
Yeah,
set in stone now. Yeah,
yeah.
cool, cool. And also, thank you, considering you're in the middle of the season right now. Is that correct?
We're actually coming to the last two games of the season.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
towards the end.
so
Okay, okay.
correct. Yeah,
Right,
towards the end.
okay, yeah. Because I've reached out to some coaches in different leagues, and they're like, "Oh no, it's mid season. I'm not going to speak to you until the end of the season."
Oh,
So no, I appreciate it. Thank you. So first up, can you tell me about your basketball history? And like, what was your introduction to basketball?
yeah. I started playing basketball in high school and just fell in love with it. And funny or not, I never played junior reps. Just never went out to the tryouts. And then I was fortunate enough to play in the league back when it was called ABA. And so played for numerous clubs. First one was Hills, and then I went to Hornsby, and then I finished it up at Parramatta and ended up winning a championship there at Parramatta Wildcats. And then after that, I went overseas to Malaysia to play professional basketball in Malaysia. I was representing the Malaysian national team a few times, and then I finished playing there, and then I decided to sort of stay in Malaysia for a little bit, and then got into coaching, and just fell in love with it, and just I love being around that competitive environment, and makes me feel alive. It feels like I'm playing again, even though I'm coaching these days. And because of COVID, things changed in Malaysia. My situation changed, and then I was able to um, connect with coaches here, and then I was able to come on board with the Inner West Bulls as a assistant last year to Daniel Kim, and then he left to go to Japan to go into the B3, and then I took over as um, the men's coach for this season. I forgot to mention also the back half of last year I was assisting Daniel Kim with the men's, but I was also coaching the women's NBL one team. So that was quite fun and good experience coaching women, and then back to men this year.
Oh, cool. So yeah, a bit of experience, obviously, as a player. But the coaching gig is. Did you always have that like sort of in your plans to become a coach eventually, or did just things open up for you to take that path?
Yeah, I think it was just sort of a little bit of both. When I was still playing, I enjoyed coaching, so I was involved with like coaching at my local associations, and teaching kids how to play. Never really thought of it as a full-time profession. After I finished playing in Malaysia, I actually started working in property, and then I was doing a little bit of coaching here and there, but then an opportunity came up to be a full-time state coach in Malaysia, and so I decided to quit my job and do it full-time. And then during that time really loved it, and um, really enjoyed sort of like the coaching aspects of things, and didn't realize that I can do it full-time, and then there were opportunities there, and yeah, haven't looked back since then.
Yeah, so it seems like you've really followed your passion, isn't it? Like you're from your love of basketball, and it's just you just followed through with that. I mean, like you said, you quit your job. Was it a bit of a leap of faith for you?
A little bit as well, but yeah, because I was doing quite well with my job in property, and then just thought, why not just give it a crack? And like if I don't like it, I suppose I could always go back to property. But then as I started to coach. Really enjoyed it, and just loved every aspect of coaching, and being around that basketball all the time was amazing.
Because I'm sure, like being around teams, that team spirit is something, and just see people being motivated to be better. Just to see that it's a very positive environment, I'm sure, than what you were doing before. But
Yeah. I mean, I get so much
I don't
joy
think
and
they both got their benefits.
satisfaction out of just seeing the development of the players. Like seeing all their hard work and then everything come to plan, and especially when we're executing in the games, and winning championships and things like that just really motivates me.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm just curious as to, but you've been playing for how long would you say you were actually playing in the leagues for?
Probably I played in the leagues here like probably like around about 10 over 10 years, I would say, and then quite a while in Malaysia, where I was kind of going back and forth, and then sort of my last stint was just when I just decided to stay there full time over there. So quite a probably a playing career, maybe 15 years, I would say.
Mm. Would you say, because we know the effect that Steph Curry has had on basketball globally, right? And I'm seeing these videos on YouTube about these kids, like these high school kids playing and shooting threes like there's no tomorrow, like going back and forth. The whole climate's changed because of him, and also in part Klay Thompson, like the Splash Brothers. Would you say it's had a similar effect in Australia with Australian basketball from what you've seen and experienced?
Yeah, most definitely. The game, I mean, from when I was playing, it's really changed. Now, a lot of teams are, really emphasizing on like shooting a high percentage with their threes, because I mean, it makes sense. At the end of the day, three is worth more than two. So if you can shoot at a high clip, you've got a real good chance of outscoring the other team. Yeah, a lot more focus on 3-point shooting these days. And when I was playing back in the day, if you didn't shoot the ball well, but you could do other things, I mean, you still can play in the league. But these days, it's kind of almost like if you can't shoot that well, yeah, it's hard for you to make these teams now. Yeah, especially on that sort of pro level. Like if you can't shoot the three well, or you don't have a good jump shot, yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to make it to the elite level.
Like even NBL, I mean, everyone's shooting threes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every player from the center to all the way through. I think it's definitely become more of a requirement, especially these young kids, if they want to sort of all these rising stars sort of arrangement. People want to make it to the NBA.
Yeah.
Because over there, especially, I mean, that's just what you have. That's just how you play, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's sort of like big, heavy, sort of big, back to the basket. It's pretty much, it's pretty much dying, dying species, because most teams these days are looking for long, sort of athletic, sort of bigs that can run the floor, can shoot from the 3-point line. That's kind of what most teams are looking for these days. But I think it's sort of depending on your personnel. There's still a need for it. Depending on your coaching philosophy, what you want to do. Yeah.
I mean, because since you've said that, I mean, for example, Draymond Green, right? We know he can shoot from three. Like he's great, but they don't really utilize him as that, like, as much of a 3-point shooter at all. To be honest, don't they? The focus is Steph and was Klay. I think now they got Buddy Hield in the team, which we know he's great from three. But you know what I mean? I mean, it just depends on the philosophy, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, Draymond's so versatile. Like he's just great. Whatever you need him to do, he can do that. Yeah.
And especially with his passing and his
Yeah.
defense. Like, I know he's getting on in years now, but
Yeah.
what he's known as. What he's built his career on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting just to see your perspective on that. Like, playing in the leagues for 15 years. 15 years ago, that wasn't the philosophy at all, wasn't it? Would you say?
No, I mean, like if you didn't back in the day, if you didn't shoot at a high clip, you weren't,
Mm-hmm.
coach was like, you're not shooting at bigs, or like just in the paint, you're just not allowed to step outside.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from the mid range, 3 pointers were early for certain people that were shooting at a high percentage. We worked a little bit on 3 point shooting, but not as much as today.
Would you say that's from who is sort of enforcing this? Well, not notion, but this movement, or this everyone accepting that you got to be a great shooter. I mean, look, the whole game is based on putting the ball in the basket, right? You get
Yeah,
everyone's you think everyone should be a great shooter, but you're right. I mean, some of the greats in the past, in the '90s, all these legends like Barkley and Robinson, Rodman, they're like some of the goats in their positions. But in what way is it expected for these players to sort of have this extra skill set?
I
Is it
think it's
through
a
the organization or?
I think it's a generation thing as the game evolved. Athletes got bigger, faster, stronger, and more skillful. I just look back at these kids these days; they're just so more skilled than me when I was at their age. And some of these, even like like in primary school, they're so skilled, and because I think a lot to do with all the accessibility with all the information with the internet. Like they can, back in our day, I got to mail off a mail order to the US to get a VHS tape. But now, like kids just go onto YouTube, just Google search, how do I cross over, or how do I do, all these dribble combos, and they can find hundreds and thousands of clips that can show them. Yeah. So I think through that evolution, the kids these days are a lot more skillful, a lot more talented. And they're so blessed in this generation to have all these resources at a finger's touch, and so they can just watch it and then just get out there and just work on the game. And back in my day, we didn't really work so much focus on skill, like individual skills. It was more, like if you're fortunate enough to play reps, you have a coach that kind of, but it was more of a team sort of environment. The stuff that you're doing wasn't so focused on individuals. But now, with the resources these days, all the athletes have all these individuals and skills trainers and information, like I said, on the internet. So I think through that, the game, the has really changed the game.
It's evolved because they got so much easy access to all
Yeah,
this information, like you said.
yeah,
Not like us back in the day going to video easy, getting
yeah,
on fly with me or whatever.
yeah,
Video
yeah.
highlight.
Or if you were lucky enough to be at a good school where there was a good basketball coach that were able to train the team, or you get into sort of like rep programs, or those like intensive training camps, what they used to have. But these days, kids can just go on YouTube and get all that information. Yeah. Best coaches are so willing and so giving to video their training, and just put it up online, and you can just watch it and learn it. And the evolution of skills trainers lately as well. So kids these days are so lucky, that they have all these resources that they can just watch it and they get out there and just work on their game. Yeah. They don't necessarily need to be part of some special program, or yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like definitely a global thing. It's not just and because of the internet, like it's not just the everyone else is caught up, haven't they?
Yeah. Nothing's really a secret anymore. Like it's because you can just find it all on the internet.
That's really fascinating. Yeah, just to see, obviously, from someone that's been in playing in leagues for as long as you have, just to see your views on that. Oh, great. So just in regards to the team, the Inner West Bulls. So there's a couple of players, Tony Tolove,
Yep. Mm.
Viliame Faketi. I've seen those guys sort of floating around on LinkedIn and for a while, and they're a couple of veterans in the team. Would you say?
Yeah, yeah. Couple of the vets on the team. Billy's played around, NBL One North. He's won a championship over at Mackay. I think it was not long ago. It was only a few years ago. Tony, represented New Zealand. Played in the NBL for a little bit. I was with the Kings and the Hawks for a bit. So they come with a wealth of experience.
Mm-hmm. Those boys and Nico Timonero. Where's he from? Is he from the Philippines?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a Filipino. He's a Bankstown junior, and I'm very fortunate to have him at Inner West.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So much talent, but I I look. I don't want to sort of pick any player over another. The one sort of standout for me, Alex Higgins, teacher.
Yeah, yeah,
He's great. He reminds. I mean, he reminds me of a bit of Kelly Oubre kind of. Listen to his physique, and
yeah.
I saw a video of him from a couple of weeks ago, scoring 21 points or something, and he's just everywhere on the court defensively. Getting the tip ins, rebounding, offensive rebounds, getting the missed shots, and shooting from three, like in mid range. Like he's quite a talent.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's our best player at the moment. He's putting up good numbers for us, like you said. Super athletic. He's long. He runs the floor really well. Can shoot the three ball. Crushes the board. Yeah, just so fortunate to have him at our club, and he's really knocking on the doors of the NBL, and really have a good feeling that this year he's going to be able to crack it.
Definitely want to look out for in the future. I think he's averaging 20 points a game.
Yeah, pretty close to 2010 at the moment. Yeah.
Wow. Oh wow, that's great. Yeah. Oh, cool. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be staying in tune with his progress. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's just a really exciting guy to watch. Yeah, very explosive, and yeah, the amount of I mean, he's dunking all the time in the games, but sometimes he still surprises me with some of those athletic plays that he makes and the throwdowns and the block shots. Yeah, real exciting player to watch.
Cool. Awesome. So how are you guys going so far in the season? I think, are you coming sixth? I think it's sixth.
Yeah. We dropped one last week against Albury, so that put us down to sixth now.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 2 more games, and then if we can get the next 2 games, we'll be able to stay in sixth going into the playoffs.
Oh, cool. All right, yeah, we'll definitely keep up to date with that. So just now back to your coaching. So, what is your coaching philosophy? Like, is it from your years as a player, or have you read books, or you were assistant coach for a while, getting tips from other head coaches? Like, what do you? How did you form your philosophy?
I think I've been fortunate that I had a lot of good coaches when I was as a player, and then I've been around, good mentors. So I've just kind of picked out the best things I've liked about them, and then just kind of molded into something that's me. I understand I got to be myself, and so my philosophy is based on stuff that I saw as a player, that I've learned over the years as a coach. I also studied a master's in sports coaching, so that heavily influenced the way I coach and some of my philosophy. But just try to make the game simple and make it exciting. I try to play a fast-paced game. Try to junk up the defense a bit. 40 minutes of hell. So it's always pressing, throwing different presses all the time, and we want to shoot a lot of threes. So that's sort of how we want to play.
Mm-hmm. who are your inspirations as head coaches? Which head coaches are like is inspired you the most?
I think probably one of them was there's a few that when I was playing as a player. So when I won a championship at Parramatta, Dave Rima was a big influence for me. A couple of coaches I had in Malaysia that were from the Philippines, Coach Britt and Coach Norma. All these we won championship. Maybe that's why we're kind of like they influenced me a lot. Even certain degree, Daniel Kim, who was the head coach last year, had a lot of influence on me, and also Bill Tomlinson, who's the current assistant coach with the Sydney Kings.
Hmm. So yeah, so that's sort of shaped your how you go about your coaching. What about coaches that you've sort of seen in like the professional leagues, like for example, the NBA, and like
Mm.
what sort of you know who is your goat coach, for example?
I think probably the ones I've learnt the most going to their training has probably been Brian Gorgon. I've been fortunate enough to attend a few of his trainings um, when he was in the Philippines, and then recently when he's just here in Sydney with the Kings, and yeah, amazing coach. Just watching him, that's why I totally agree. He's the goat of Australian coaching. He just the way he does it, and for so many years, how I can really see him evolve. His coaching, the way he talks and the way he kind of makes each person feel special, um, and how much he cares for the players, and it's just not all about the X and O's, but I can really see that he really cares for his players and he really wants them, to succeed.
Yeah, and as we know, he's the Sydney Kings head coach next season, and currently the Boomers coach, Australian Boomers
Yeah, yeah,
at the
yeah.
Olympics. So
Mm,
I mean, that's and he has the utmost. They have the utmost respect for him. Obviously, he's earned it.
yeah,
I might be able to get I might be having an interview with him very short after the. He told me after the Olympics once he settles down a bit. So
yeah. Oh, excellent. Yeah, yeah. Real interesting guy.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great. What about players? What players have inspired you as well? I mean, in terms of their mindset and yeah, does that sort of helped you in any way with your approach to how you go about coaching?
I generally sort of way I play is sort of shaped on what I've sort of learned in the coaching sort of realm, and then just try to find players that sort of suit that style. Like I said, I like to play fast, so when I recruit, I generally looking at guys that can run the floor well, try to have them long and athletic, and obviously they must be able to play good defense. So I kind of look at it from the other way around. Yeah.
Okay. What about uh player egos? How do you manage that as the the leader of the team?
Yeah, that's probably one of the most challenging thing is, like as the level as you go up in levels, the sort of the ego gets bigger. So number one, I try to like have that philosophy of like prevention is better than cure. So what I mean by that is that when I'm recruiting guys or trying to sign players, I generally don't sign guys that have big egos, so that I don't have to deal with it later on. So that's my first step. Try to just sign guys that are down to earth and humble, and wanting to come in and work hard. And so yeah, if I can prevent myself from having those discussions later on, it just saves me a lot of time and headache. But I mean, there are times you got to deal with it. Um, Generally, these players are pretty good. You just, as long as you're sort of upfront with them and you're honest with them, and you just set the expectation, and you know allow have try to be understanding as well, because I was a player as well. I'm sure when I was a player I had some sort of ego as well. So just try to be sympathetic to them, and if they do have an ego, just yeah, all right, but like it's got to be like team first, and you're gonna have your moments, and sort of just give and take as well. Sometimes they might blow up at you or something like that, but just especially in the heat of battle, they say something, just I don't know. For me, I just let it go. Like don't try to take it personally, because I understand it's the heat of battle. So just try to understand where they're coming from as well, and then just try to manage it, and then just try to get a win-win situation out of it.
Mm. Yeah, excellent. That's excellent. It can't be easy, but that's just every coach has to go through that, really, to be honest. But
Yeah. I suppose like I said, that the higher the level, the more the ego. So I mean, if you, for coaches that don't want to deal with it or have trouble dealing with it, like maybe their path could be in junior basketball, where it's a little bit more like you can put the foot down, and this has got to be this way with kids. But when you're dealing with men, it doesn't work that way. Like, yeah, you got to be firm with certain things that are non-negotiables, but sometimes like you got to understand that these guys have egos, like and you just deal with it, and like I said, just be honest with them, and allow them to have their moments as well. Just don't take it too personally, and just be willing to have these tough conversations and address the elephant in the room when you have to.
And like you sort of stated, in the bigger leagues, I mean, when you start talking about endorsements and all this, people start getting these ego. They sort of they got a brand. They become their own brand, and they got to
Yeah,
who's better than
yeah.
who. That's got to be real tough. But yeah, but I just thought it was funny how you said you just don't recruit the ones that have the biggest
Yeah,
egos.
I mean that's yeah.
Early.
I know it sounds simple, but yeah, sometimes it's tricky as well, because when you're like recruiting people, everyone's like eager. Everyone, no, it's like an interview. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm the best teammate. I'm the best for this, and then when you sign them, and then you really see the true, the real personality. Yeah, so that's why it's important to do your research as well.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's great. I really appreciate your time. So what's sort of the how can we, if you're in Sydney, what's the best way to get tickets and to the games?
Yeah, just I mean, all the tickets you could be bought at on the game day, or just you could go onto the Inner West Bulls website, and I think you can get it through there as well. But there's it's probably easier just to rock up to the game, and yeah, there's always tickets.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
especially we got our last home game next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the season, yeah, regular season, yeah, next week.
Okay, I might actually, I'll try and attend that actually, and
Yeah, come around and say hello. Yeah,
yeah.
Saturday night. We're playing against Penrith.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd like to get some footage as well of the guys in action.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I'll hit you up if I'm gonna be there. I'll just check my schedule and all that. But
Yeah. Let me know. Yeah.
You play in Auburn, is that right?
We have been playing at Auburn on Sundays, but Saturdays we've been playing out over at North Ryde.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's look, thank you so much. Okay, I got one last question for you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Jordan or LeBron?
Oh, Jordan. I'm old school. Yeah, so Jordan for sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
Look, man, I'm a LeBron fan. I'm the same age as LeBron, so you know
Uh,
it. Look, I grew up watching Jordan, like just like hated himself, but you
yeah,
know. Anyway, look, I'm not gonna get into any arguments, but I'm just I just had to just ask the question,
yeah, yeah,
just to get people's opinions. Hey,
yeah,
but it's funny how you know it's just those people. It's just those two people are like. I mean, I think Shaq is trying to get Kobe into the conversation, which
yeah,
he did, but
yeah,
yeah, you know, it's just funny how it's just those two.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're
Anyway,
two probably the standouts, yeah, over the over the years.
yeah, that's for sure.
Mm.
That's anyway, Ing, thanks for your time again, and yeah, we'll definitely.
No, no, thank
Yeah,
you for hitting me up, and it's always nice to talk basketball.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I'll try and catch one of the games before the end of the season, and yeah, it'll be good to catch up again soon.
yeah. Thanks, Ed.
Okay, Ing.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
see ya.
Bye.
Bye.